Just as we're coming to the close of our first series together, as we've been looking at the I am sayings of Jesus, we're also coming to the end of our little journey through learning the lessons of the Psalms. We've only one more after this one. And today we're looking at how the Psalms teach us the lesson of learning how to live. Now, you might expect that I'd run through a list of advice or commands that come through in the Psalms and give you the impression that if you tick those boxes, that will be you sorted. You'll learn how to live and you'll learn how to live well. But that's not how we're approaching that, because that's not really how the Psalms approach this. The Psalms, they direct us and want us to look and realize something that most of us spend our time trying to avoid, because the Psalms take us to death. That sounds so strange though. How can death be part of learning how to live? Well, you see, it's only through death that we actually realize how to live. We only learn how to live when we realize that we will die. We only learn how to live when we realize that we'll die. You see, despite the inescapable and inevitable fact that we are all going to die at some stage, most of us do go through life as if we're going to live forever. Try to think back a year ago, a year and a bit, when COVID was just looming in the distance. And what did you think? Did you think that it wasn't much to worry about? Just another flu and you'd be fine? You see, our natural deluded instinct is this thought that we're invincible, that we're invulnerable. Now, growing older usually robs us a bit of that, but in the everyday, we normally think like that, and we need readjusted and reminded of the truth. Death is the ultimate advertisement of our frailty and our mortality. We might try to dress it up in whatever fancy finery we can find to dull its horror, but it still comes. And the reality of its coming is meant to sharpen our thoughts for today, for living in the here and now. It's only with death in view that we learn how to live. And this is part of what Moses tries to get across in Psalm 90, and please do take the time to read through that psalm. We're just going to focus on one verse. It's verse 12, where Moses says, "Teach us to number our days, that we may gain a heart of wisdom." Teach us to number our days, that we may gain a heart of wisdom. What is it that Moses means by that? Well, Moses is asking God to teach him about the shortness, the brevity of life, that our days, they do have a number, they're limited, they're finite, and because they're limited and they're finite, they need to be valued and they need to be used wisely. Think about it. If you knew that your days were numbered, how would you look at things? How would you experience the world? Would the flowers smell like they have never smelt before? Would the mountains look more beautiful than they've ever looked before? Would you look out your window and see beauty you've never seen before? Would the voices of those who are near and dear to you sound sweeter and be more cherished than ever before? And would what lies beyond this life matter much more than it does now? Our days are numbered, but what difference does that make now? And why doesn't it make a difference now? Death is meant to make that difference. It's meant to make us think about what lies beyond this life. And death's meant to make us think about how to live in the here and now and how to die well and with eternity in view and in response to the God of eternity who's made us and will one day bring us all before him. The heart of wisdom is one that numbers our days, knowing that our days are numbered. We learn to live, knowing that one day we will die. And so we aim to make this life count for the life to come. And this life will only count for anything if it's lived with Christ and for him. I really like how James Montgomery Boyce comments on Psalm 19, where he says, if Moses were a lesser poet, he would have written, only one life, 'twill soon be past, only what's done for Christ will last. The Psalms teach us how to live and remind us that to live well means responding to the reality that one day we'll die. But death isn't the end. At least it doesn't have to be. Not if we follow the one who said these words that we heard a couple of weeks ago, and answer his most pressing of questions. I am the resurrection and the life. The one who believes in me will live even though they die. And whoever lives by believing in me will never die. Do you believe this? Those were Jesus' words to people like you and me, who have the inevitable and escapable fact in front of their faces that death's coming. People who need to learn to live, not just for today, but for forever. So may God teach us to number our days that we may learn this lesson. Let me finish with some words from Psalm 39, verse 4. O Lord, make me know my end, and what is the measure of my days. Let me know how fleeting I am. May we know, may we learn, and may we live by Christ, with Christ, and for him, until he comes again or calls us home. Take care, stay safe, and God bless.